Just three short questions, Minister. We got in a submission from the Revenue Commissioners in relation to the VAT being charged between principal dentists and associates. It has to do with the VAT on services. Now, the Revenue have given an interpretation, and I'm just wondering, we send that on to you. Will you give us some sort of overview from the department in the context of legislation and the VAT in the European context?
We'll do that. We'll do that this week.
Okay. The second question is, in 2019, the UK Parliament found that the accountancy profession was given misleading advice inconsistent with European law relative to the international financial reporting standards. And that comes into play now in terms of those standards and the sale of our AIB. So will you ensure that when AIB is reporting its financial position to the potential shareholders, that the information will align itself with the law and not on the current interpretation of the international financial reporting standards? It's an issue that has cropped up from time to time as to how these standards are interpreted, and I just want to get your view on it relative to the AIB sale. And finally, a question that I hope you will address, which is, you own 71% of AIB, and recently in the courts, AIB EBS settled the case with a tied agent, and the confidentiality clause, I presume, attached to the outcome of that case and that settlement. There was 20 witnesses on the side of EBS to on the side of the tied agents, EBS tied agents, to come forward in that case, because they would have had similar circumstances and experiences, and this court case, if it was heard, would have stood as, and the outcome were to be successful, would have stood as a baseline, if you like, for the others to be tested against. That's now can't happen because of the confidentiality issue and because AIB, EBS have closed down and just dealt with one of the agents. But there's many more of them there. And would you not be concerned that in informing stakeholders of legacy issues in particular, that this is a matter that probably won't even be referred to, and that there's still tied agents out there who were tied agents that have not had their grievance, if you like, heard in an open way by EBS, AIB. And I have always endeavoured with the bank to try and get them to the point where at least they would mediate in some way, but that hasn't happened. Now that the opportunity has arisen, now that they've seen the court case, it wasn't tried, but they've seen each side of the case. They obviously would have all the documentation and so on. Is it not now an opportunity to look at how this settlement was reached on the steps of the court, and look at then each individual case of the tied agents involved and come to some resolution about it? Like, it's gone on and on and on. This committee has raised it with EBS. With AIB, they insist that they represent EBS and they won't let the EBS, main principal people come before us. And I can partially understand that, but I fully understand the side of the EBS tied agents. Now, that gallery was full of them on one day, and since then their numbers have dropped because some of their group have died. That's the way life is. But for those that are left there, surely there's something that has to be done about it. And okay, I'm not asking you to use your 71% to influence the outcome, but surely to God, as the state as that main shareholder, that the bank should be at least requested to be open and transparent about that legacy issue, which is causing so much, I suppose, pain and grief for the people and the families of those people that are involved. After the court case, it's over, it's finished. Now let's see, will they do it?
So thanks, Chairman, for raising that, and I'll deal with the tied agents issue first, because you've raised this with me in one of my last committee appearances in front of you. And since then, I have received correspondence on the matter for some of the individuals who are involved in this as an issue. And I want to acknowledge to them your ongoing interest in this issue and the fact that you've raised it directly with me. I have sought a briefing on the matter, given your involvement in it, and I have received a very clear advice that given that there is other cases currently ongoing with regard to this issue, that I can't comment on it publicly. And, however, the interest of this committee and you in this matter, I think, is well known. And I have sought a briefing on the matter. I'm now aware of some of the details in a better way than when you raised it with me last. But I cannot comment on it publicly. And, of course, I hope that any matter that's been going on that is a cause of great difficulty to individuals can be resolved in an amicable and fair way. But I'm just making that as a general comment, because I can't comment on this issue.
Can I just
But I do want to reiterate that since you raised it with me, I have now received communication on the matter, and I want to acknowledge here today that this is an issue that you've taken a lot of interest in, and I'm sure have played a role in trying to support people who are affected by it.
Thank you very much, Minister. Just to say this to you by way of conclusion, that I listened to the debate around the COVID cover on the insurance companies. So the insurance companies funded a case to be tested and so on. And here we have, similar, not similar, but, generally speaking, it has similarities with a group that are at odds with EBS in this case and the AIB. There has been a case. Can that case now be examined and measured against each of the individual agents concerned to see if some form of settlement can be mediated with each one?
Yeah.
I think that's fair. So that's all I'm asking.
I think the very fact that you have outlined a very clear legal process that may happen, appropriate for you to raise it, but it does indicate why I can't comment on it.
Yeah.
So I know this issue is under consideration at the moment. It is being dealt with in the courts, perhaps in the way you've just indicated there. But at this point, given how long this has been going on for and some of the difficulties involved in it, I just again have to acknowledge your involvement and interest in it, but do have to leave it to the bank and those they're dealing with to resolve the matter.
Would you ask for a briefing on the outcome of the court case?
I've already received it.
Okay, all right.
And I did so on foot of you raising this matter with me in the last committee hearing.
Well, look, all I can say is thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you.
We'll see what the outcome will be.
Thank you,